This is a real favorite quote of mine. Planning is bringing the future into the present so you can do something about it now. And I find that very comforting because we're all taught to envision what our business is going to be like in the future, but we really need to deal with it today. And the things that we can actually deal with today and control today are the things that we feel the most comfortable about. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, many of you already have businesses, but if you are thinking of starting a business or you're thinking of changing your business, one of the first things we have our clients go through is a financial viability. You know, take a look and see, is this thing actually going to make money? I mean, wouldn't it be nice to know, is my business idea going to make money before I actually plunge in, put a lot of time and effort and money into it? So when we do that, what we do is we take a look at quite a few things, but today we're going to look at how to determine your personal expense number, your net worth, your business income, your business expense, what adjustments you might need in order to make money, and then of course planning for growth. So we start out with our personal expense number, and many of you have heard, you know, everybody should have a budget, you should, you know, live by a budget, and people just kind of cringe when they hear that because they think, I don't want to be so constrained to live with a budget. And actually, in this presentation, or this part of it, we're really not even talking about living within a budget, it's just figuring out what the heck is your budget. This is just a very shortened list of your expenses, but it's very, very important to at least once in your life, and this is a good time as any, especially in an economic downturn, figure out what it is that you actually spend every single month. And you can do this quite easily. I mean, there's all kinds of fancy things on the internet for budgets. All you really need to do is take out about 6 months worth of your last bank statements and start to go through them. And you will see that about 85% of the expenses repeat every single month. So those are your consistent ones. At the end, what you're going to come up with is you need to know this number, which is your personal expense number, and in this case it's $4,700. And so I know then, no matter what, between everybody who's bringing in income into this family, we need to bring home $4,700. Let's say, for example, my husband has a good job, or maybe I retired from another job and I have a good pension, but $4,000 a month is already coming in from various sources. Then that tells me for my business I need to bring in $700 because that's the difference. But unless you know this number, you really don't know what you need out of that business. On the net worth, all of you I'm sure have done a net worth, although you might not have even realized you were doing it. If you ever applied for a home or even a car loan, they ask you this stuff. But basically you list what are your assets, how much is your home worth, your car, any savings you have, retirement savings that you might have. And then of course you subtract out what are your liabilities, any loans, home loan, car loan, credit cards. And basically if you subtract those liabilities from the assets, you have your net worth. And that's the number that if you were to just sell everything out, that's what you would have left over. Well, why do we need that number? Well, that number does give us some resources to work with. Okay, on the business side, the first thing to do is to estimate your income. So let's say we're going to take the example of a bookkeeper. I'm a bookkeeper and I'm going to charge about 25 bucks an hour. Well, the first thing I have to do is I have to figure out how many hours a day am I going to work and how many days a week. So let's say I say I'll do 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. That would be 30 hours. So you need to calculate that, and then of course then you need to actually convert that to income. So if I'm doing 30 hours a week and I'm making 25 bucks an hour, I'm now making 750 bucks a week. And my maximum would be approximately 3,000. There'd be some months where we would have more than 4 weeks, so I would make a little bit more. But this is an important number. You have to start with this number and see what is my maximum I'm going to make in this business. And eventually we will go through and we'll test it at different levels. Well, what if I only make half of that amount, or 75% or 25%? We'll test that out, but it's important to kind of look at that. Then the next thing is to actually verify your hourly rate by doing a competitive analysis. Now, competitive analysis sounds like a big fancy term, but it's pretty easy. If I'm a bookkeeper, I'm just going to go out into the marketplace. I'm going to look online. I'm going to look, in various places to see what are other bookkeepers in our community charging. And it's not just a matter of what's your hourly rate, but what services are they providing? Because not everybody does the same thing. I'm going to look at their strengths and weaknesses, and I'm going to look at my strengths and weaknesses.